you cut me too deep. I think I'm dying here, man.
Welcome to the 3B Video Deep Cut Podcast.
Watch a few movies, take a few notes. It was fun.
Aw, yeah, it's that time again for another bi-weekly podcast with your hosts, Rotten Roger DeMarco and...
Finish it! Evil Dead Inc.'s in the back room, and Roger, it's time for us to finish this.
It is. And I couldn't be happier. I love me some goddamn Badge of Silence. Maniac Cop 3.
I have no idea what that title's supposed to mean.
It doesn't mean anything.
It's funny because it's the Badge of Silence, and this is literally the only time we hear Matt Cordell speak.
Yes.
So he's not...
well, he says Cordell in the second one, but
I mean,
he got a couple of lines in this one.
I mean, he says Cordell like how someone that's like in a coma would just come out of it. No! If you ain't got subtitles on, I have no idea what the hell he's saying, but the most he's speaking is here, which is funny, being the Badge of Silence.
Bum, bum, bum. What does it mean? It means this is an Alan Smithy film.
I noticed that immediately when I put it on to rewatch it for review. I'm like, oh shit, this movie got Smithied.
Mm-hmm. Well, a lot of cooks in the kitchen with this movie, and it's funny when you watch the making of and you kind of do some deep diving, how much trouble they really had making this movie. Like, they knew they were in trouble when they did the rough cut, which is every piece of footage that they had ever shot, and it was still like 40 minutes. And they were like, oh no.
I mean, it shows. Rewatching, I'm like, man, there's just so many scenes of just Matt Cordell slowly walking places.
And I'm fine with that. See, that's which is like, that's kind of my kind of movie is, and I mean, you notice it with the first Tapehead, and you'll definitely notice it with Tapehead: The Return of Jacob Cobb, is like the killer is resurrected and he's
just trolling around,
somewhere.
He's
going
town.
somewhere. There's an end location in mind, but anything that's in between him and that location has to die, and that is called runtime padding. And you also get a good kill in there. And
I feel like I know and will know where Tapehead is going to. I have no idea where the fuck Matt Cordell is on his way to at any point in this movie. And like, he's just walking around. Then he's just skulking outside of a hospital, looking up at the room that Maniac Kate is in.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm assuming he knows what room is in. I guess it's the only one with the light on.
This hospital, they're cutting costs, man.
And again, I literally within the past month have been in a hospital where a big chunk of this place, dark, no room, no lights on in any rooms, nothing. I'm like, see, this shit is real. People need to quit bitching about it. These hospitals are empty. Yeah, they're big ass buildings. Part of it are going to be empty for purposes. Shut up.
But they're way too dark.
Why you need a power shift? No one's in there.
Movie hospitals are far too dark, sir. I will die on that hill.
All right, fine.
So, do you want to give the good folks out there in internet land a brief plot synopsis, the best you can? Because, well, I mean, we already hit the nail on the head. This is an Alan Smithy film. It's kind of muddy. Kind of muddy is kind of an understatement, I would say.
I think the mud is like a puddle. Like, it's not too deep. but this picks up immediately where part 2 ends, with Cordell buried, his name cleared. We have a scroll at the beginning of the movie telling us that even Robert Davi's character thought the terror would end. It didn't. And somehow, between Matt Cordell being buried, we're told about this brand new cop named Kate, nicknamed Maniac Kate, which we've never heard of or seen a bit of ever before, but apparently has a really long-standing relationship, sister-wise, with Robert Davi's character. Again, something we've never seen at all in the previous movie. Just kind of all of a sudden, yeah, he's really close with this person that you never heard of.
Right, well, it was supposed to be Lauren Landon.
And it should have been.
Something happened.
But yeah, this Maniac Kate ends up in a gunfight in a drugstore with 2010's Freddy Krueger. She gets comatose, and it's some of the footage revealed of this altercation is showing that she kind of unloaded her clip on these two people unprovoked. But the raw footage, of course, shows the opposite. Like, it's very much warranted. So for some reason, Maniac Cop is resurrected by, I'm just going to call him King
Voodoo.
Willie.
Yeah, Voodoo.
He's King Willie. He literally is doing King Willie shit for reasons. And Maniac Cop decides he's going to clear Maniac Kate's name or take her back to King Willie's abandoned church to marry her, resurrect and marry her. And it's up to Robert Davi and his now new love interest, Dr. Lady, who works at hospital, to stop them, and results in ambulance chases.
The greatest fire stunt in the history of fire stunts.
I don't know if I would say this is the greatest fire stunt, but definitely the best, like, punctuation on the end of that, when he is literally lighting up his 700th cigarette in the movie with Matt Cordell's severed flaming arm. That,
Spoiler alert.
that right there, I literally was rewatching this movie going, I wonder why is this, other than Raj's like introduction to the Maniac Cop movies was this one. I was like, wonder what it is about this one that really speaks to him. And when he lit the cigarette with a severed flaming arm, I'm like, that's probably it. That's it right there.
There's a lot of stuff in this movie that kind of just speaks to me. For one, you know, we talked about Maniac Cop 2 and the look of Matt Cordell in Maniac Cop 2. Now, I like that look, and I feel like that's the look everyone likes. That's the definitive Maniac Cop look, that kind of blue, bloated, big, like the damage is bigger, like it's starting to, like the skin is separating.
It's like Jason,
stuff like that.
It's like New Blood Jason's like younger brother.
Yeah, I feel like he looks a little bit more like Manhattan.
Oh,
Jason.
yeah.
You know,
Yep.
kind of derpy a little bit. But the look of Matt Cordell in Maniac Cop 3, to me, is hands down the best. Like, he is completely corpsed. He's really hidden in the shadows.
I like that. I like that it's a bit darker here. We don't quite see as much face as we did in 2.
Yeah, and also, you know, it's certain things like Scuzzbucket characters, like the doctor who's like, you know, she's a vegetable, and then he gets, you know, defibrillator to the face and to the chest, and
the fact that this guy is going down on a woman while wearing a stethoscope in his ears, I have no idea why. Like, does he have that like next to her pelvis? Like, is he listening to himself go down on her, or
listening to her heartbeat,
or what? I mean, we don't see it, but we see like her making pleasure noises and him popping up from between her legs with a stethoscope on.
Yeah. Plus, you get Robert Forrester, which is awesome.
Yeah, what in the hell is up with him in this movie? Like, he just shows up, and then he just kind of wanders into an x-ray room, and there's papers all over the floor, and he compares the place to a goddamn Greek restaurant. Like, what is that supposed to mean?
They had him for a day,
is that
and they
racist?
had to kill him, you know?
Is that racist? I don't know about Greek restaurants to verify or not.
I don't know. My big fat Greek restaurant. I don't know.
My big fat Greek x-ray to the face.
Which is awesome. There's a lot of, like, it's just, as muddy as this movie is, it's just fun. And it goes back to when we talked about my favorite Halloween film, goes back and forth between 2 or 6. And everybody on the planet hates Halloween 6. I swear to God, everybody does. And that's a movie that almost got Alan Smithied.
Yeah.
So, I kind of identify with that, like, movie that's struggled to get made, you know?
But you started with this one, so this is your first taste of the Maniac Cop. So take me through that time traveling moment. When did you discover this? At what age? And what were your thoughts after your first viewings of this new horror franchise?
I'm gonna say I'm like 9. I'm like 9 years
Wow.
old, and we had a store in my local in my hometown that was it was called Duck Walls, which is basically like an Alco or a Dollar General for anyone who has either of those.
That totally, like, if you didn't tell me what it was, it sounded like a mini hardware store that had a toy aisle in it.
Nope. This one was specific. Like, this one had everything. You had
a catch-all
toys,
store.
you had movies, you had technology, TVs, whatever you wanted, you could buy in this place. And it was just a shitty little hole-in-the-wall store that our town had for maybe 2 years. And I went in there with my mom one day, and they had their little movie section. And I want to say, I could be misremembering this, but I feel like I have this pinpointed. Their VHS tapes were dirt cheap. I want to say maybe $2.99, and that's kind of unheard of.
Yeah.
Unheard of even in like 95, 94, 95.
Because even with inflation, that's what, maybe $6.
Yeah. And I got Maniac Cop 3 and Return of the Living Dead.
Oh my God.
On VHS.
What a day.
And went home and watched those movies. And the reason I'm feeling like that, I have a story that kind of like taps into that. Like, there was a day I didn't go to school because I had to go to the doctor because I have like a super gnarly burn on my hand, and I had to go to the doctor for said burn. And we went there after the doctor, and my mom was kind of like, yeah, grab a movie or two. You know what I mean? Like, it was like a you're hurt type of deal.
Will this make you feel better?
Yeah, go up in your room and relax and watch a couple horror movies. And
oh, you burned your hand? How about this film where this guy spends a good chunk of the finale on fire? That should be good.
On fire.
Yeah, this will feel good.
And not knowing anything about any of the previous Maniac Cop films.
Which is
except
insane. Like, I don't think anyone today would do shit like that we used to do. Like, just like, I've never seen Maniac Cop 1 or 2. Fuck it, I'm buying part 3 and I'm going to start there.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, it was the only one they had, and he, like, you know the cover.
Oh, yeah.
The cover to Maniac Cop 3. Dude, it's an awesome cover. And
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it, but I don't feel like anyone, like, of that age bracket today would be like, well, I can't buy it. I haven't seen 2 or 1 yet. I got to go find 2 or 1. I can't just start with 3.
Nope. That ain't the way it was back in 90, 94, 95.
You took what you got.
Yeah, and so went home, popped that sucker in, and it was just, I don't know whether it was just a perfect storm for like how kind of down I was feeling, but I was like, man, this is fun. Like, he's just killing everybody. Like, and I think it was also different for me because I'm used to like a Jason or a Freddy or a Michael not using a firearm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so having like a zombie using a gun and then using all these other different weapons, I was just like, this is so, yeah, I'm like, this is so rad. Like, and then, come on, man, that last, I know that Lustig and Larry Cohen both kind of hate this movie, but like that last half hour, he's literally on fire for a half hour. Like, it's awesome. It is awesome.
I can't. The dummy on fire is all I can look at nowadays when I see it, because man, he's literally carrying a goddamn dummy. Like,
yeah. Well, I don't care. He's on fire.
Yeah, he's on fire. I'm like, that dummy is cheap as shit looking, and I can't stop staring at it. Now, I have the exact opposite approach to my exposure to Maniac Cop 3, because I never knew there was one for the longest time. I just knew there was 1 and 2. And then I heard finally that there's a part 3, and I never got to see it. I never found it anywhere to rent, buy, nothing. No.
So you're like relatively new to Maniac Cop 3?
Until I was able to find it at the stock, finally on Blu-ray, 2 and 3, not together, but together. I was like, oh, I can
the Blue Underground releases?
Yes. Yeah. I was like, oh, I can finally see Maniac Cop 3. I've waited 20-something years to finally see Maniac Cop 3. Then I watched it, and the first time I did watch it, I'm like, I don't know if I like this. Probably because I waited 20 years and I was like, this is it. Probably like that.
Yeah,
Phantasm.
you had the hype build up.
Yeah, it's that Phantasm 5 Ravager kind of thing. Like,
oh man,
shit,
no, this is Maniac Cop 3 is leaps and bounds better than Ravager. You got to at least give it that.
Yeah, I don't know if the budget's much different, probably.
But it looks better.
I don't know. I might put them on the same par. I'm like,
oof, ouch.
But I didn't absolutely hate either of the movies. So, spoiler, whenever we get to the Phantasm franchise, holy shit, that'll be a wild mess.
I'm going to have to do acid.
It'll just sound like we're on acid when we're doing those movies. Do not ask me to. I'm going to have to struggle to do the plot synopsis for those flicks. But, yeah, I didn't see it till I got the Blu-ray. Watched the Blu-ray, and then, yeah, it didn't blow me away initially. And then upon rewatching it a couple times, like, all right, this is all right. Mm-hmm. And then watching it critically, for recording purposes, like, okay, now I can see all the real goofy shit about it. Like, where the fuck is this guy walking? Why is he walking so many places with, I don't know why. Like, this dude looks like King Willie that resurrected him. Why the fuck did he resurrect him? Holy shit, he's carrying a dummy, and he's breaking every light bulb he's walking under.
I feel like the guy who resurrects him looks a little bit more like Scatman Crothers, but... Yeah. No, yeah, 100%. I'll give you that. And like, so there's an underground tunnel that connects the local hospital to an abandoned church. Of course. Why wouldn't there be?
Where this voodoo man's lighting another scene where we're getting 1 million candles lit. Mm-hmm. For purposes.
And I will tell you this. I think I might have sent you the picture way back when we were... it wasn't when I was writing Tapehead, Return of Jacob Cobb, but I had this lookbook where I was like, these are the tones, like, and one of
images
the
that you were like wanted to capture tones
from Maniac Cop 3 is when he is in the coffin and he opens his eyes. Like, there are a million movies where a corpse opens their eyes, and they all have they all vary in tone. Mm-hmm. But I don't know what it is about Maniac Cop 3, whether it's the way that the music is coming, what is happening, but when he opens his eyes, every single time when I'm watching it, and I throw it on a lot, like it's always background noise. Every time I stop, I watch, and it gets a pop out of me. I'm like, yeah! Like, there's something about that shot that I'm like, that is fucking awesome. And the lighting, the fucking milky contacts, I don't know what it is, but I'm like, I want to do that. 1 million times I want to do that.
Yeah, because spoiler minus, you don't really see anything, but the going down stethoscope scene, this is a pretty any time of day movie.
Yeah.
You're not getting too excessively gory to be shielding, and there's zero nudity. Bummer on that.
Compared to the second one where there's a fair amount.
Yeah. I like that shot. I probably would have, if it was me in the director's chair, I would have probably just stuck with just the hand popping up and pulling the badge down. I thought
badge down. Yeah.
I just thought that looked cool. Favorite shot though is probably one I know you like as well, is just him walking, but it's the waist shot where he's constantly flipping that billy club knife around, like just how he does that. I wonder if that was actually. That was actually Robert Zadar, if that was a different dude that was just like doing that fucking trick. I was like, I like watching that. I don't know why, but I like watching him do that.
It's super cool, yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, is this the movie where to get Robert Zadar back, Lustig and Cohen had to be like, we'll give you a vacation? Or was that Maniac Cop 2?
I can't remember if it was to do this movie or if it was to finish part 2.
To finish this or finish, yeah.
Definitely one of the two to come back, because he's got to put a whole lot more makeup on, but he does get to do some of the most Maniac Cop shit I've seen. Like, I absolutely was a roll every time when he's staring at the hospital window and a random just jackass rolls up on him.
That's where he got that cop, man.
Yeah, it just starts dropping all this random dialogue. I'm like, how do you know all this? Yeah, why do you know all this shit? And in a total Tapehead-like move, he just grabs this guy by the shoulder and throws him in the air and unloads his 6-shooter before he hits the ground on him. Nobody shows up to investigate this shit. Like, that sounded like 6 gunshots outside, didn't it? I don't know.
Yeah.
But just shoots the shit out of this guy before he hits the ground. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, and then, well, the other cool thing about Maniac Cop 3, which I really like, and that, I think it also kind of goes back to, like, Predator 2, is the news guys, you know? They're just pariahs. They're like, oh.
Which one of them is the shady character from Beverly Hills Cop that's running the cigarette truck?
Nice.
All I know him from. I'm like, I can't think. I think it's the cameraman, the guy holding the camera. Like, that's the dude who's got the truck full of cigarettes in Beverly Hills Cop. Told the cops he was from Buffalo.
I like those characters, but, you know, it fits, and it's pretty accurate to the, like,
oh yeah,
that shit's still going on, so it's very Nightcrawler-esque, but, like, they get their comeuppance. A lot of scumbags in this movie.
But what
get
about
killed?
What about Robert Davi though? Because I feel he has a total scumbagish move in this. Is he rolls up on this murder scene where we have a headless corpse with chicken feathers stuffed in the head.
And the chicken feet hanging out.
Yeah. And there's a head drawn in chalk on the ground of a smiley face. So Robert Davi rolls up on this, pulls the sheet back, looks, and, well, at least he died with a smile on his face. Ah! But as soon as anybody does any of that shit towards his friend Kate, he's like, they don't be talking about her like that. This shit ain't funny. This shit's real. I'm like, you were 3 minutes ago laughing about a dude who had his head cut off in an alleyway.
Looks like you just punched your last ticket, amigo.
I was like,
just tough talk a dead body.
And that's also the scene right there where he gets done criticizing a corpse that King Willie's just hanging out. And how it's shot, it just feels like he's just hanging out burning a barrel in the next alley over. And Robert Davi just rolls up on him, just like, totally like, hey, makes sense, man.
Yeah. A little bit, yeah.
A whole lot like that. And it's just the way it's shot. It's like, is he just hanging out there and they just didn't bother questioning him at all until Robert Davi showed up?
I guess Davi is a little scumbaggy in this movie. I had never really thought of it like that. So, yeah.
I do feel bad for the man, genuinely, because it feels like every scene he's lighting up another cigarette. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if they were able to afford those, like those...
The fake ones, yeah.
Yeah, like those potato fucking cigarettes that they smoke.
Oh, probably not.
Taste horrible, but at least they're safer than regular cigarettes. But I was like, definitely it taints you if you've ever worked on making your own movie. Of like, just seeing how many times somebody does something like that. So if he's throwing up a cigarette every, I mean, probably total maybe, it feels like 7 times, maybe 8 times he's lighting up. So he's probably
constantly lighting up cigarettes. Yeah,
times that probably by 12. So he's probably burned through 700 cigarettes on the filming of this.
Yeah, you also gotta too, like, the runtime of this movie is pretty condensed. So,
oh yeah, we get some repeat stuff. In case you missed it in the previous 2 Maniac Cops, if you need the backstory on Matt Cordell, we'll get it again.
You'll get it again. I will say this though. Robert Davi as the lead, I feel, shines a little bit more in this movie than he does in Maniac Cop 2.
Yeah, he's barely there.
Yeah, he gets a really cool shootout in this movie, like where he does that little, like, you know, back roll off of the gurney and then, like, catches the door with his foot. Like,
that's cool, but him rolling on that gurney is goddamn ridiculous.
Yeah, but it's awesome. It's obviously ridiculous, but it's like,
I half expected him to pull the machete thing where they have in the same setup as a fucking cart is rolling down. Clearly you can see all the way underneath it, but out of nowhere Machete just rolls out from underneath it as if you couldn't see him and starts killing people. But yeah, in this one you just see 2 gunshots start coming out. Like, he has no idea where these people are. He's just
killing innocent people.
How do you set that up? Like, you get on the gurney, pull the sheet almost over his head, and like push himself off a door frame. And hopefully he got down the middle of the aisle. Like he
Aimed straight, yeah.
had to plan that shit just right. Like they're going to come out from that door at the end of the hallway any minute. Just one good, and hope he kept that shit straight and didn't veer off and hit a wall or something.
Have an orderly give him a boost.
Why? Yeah. He's got
Turk and JD.
He's got 2 guns in his hands. He said, "Yo, orderly Bob, push me down this in 3 seconds. Give it a good push. I got to get all the way to the end and keep that shit straight, so I can just randomly start opening fire on these guys." Ridiculous.
Yeah, well,
awesome, but ridiculous.
It is. It's like if I choreographed it, I'd be like, I'm a genius. You know what I mean? I'd be like, I'm John Woo. Like that's. I would think I was so fucking cool.
That day of wrapped filming, you're like, all right, let's go get a bottle of champagne. It's time to celebrate with some bubbly because we just made the most amazing shit in the world.
Absolutely. I strive to one day make something as cool as Maniac Cop 3, to be honest
Strive to Smithy.
Yes.
That's a t-shirt. Look for it on 3B Video.
I want a shirt that just says directed by Alan Smithy. I would wear that fucking every day.
I can have that made up for you, no problem.
Let's do that. But also with Robert Davi, like again, having a character reprise their role in a furthering the franchise.
A movie
so he gets to come back.
A movie I feel he felt probably was beneath him at this point because he was doing big shit when he got part 2. So to come back and do part 3.
Yeah. But I feel like him being able to have his character in 2 films and not get killed off, as opposed to like the standard rule of you're coming back in the next one, you're getting killed, like
the
Bruce
slasher
Campbell.
standard, yeah.
Yeah. He gets to expand on his character and have a little bit more, I don't want to say like an arc, because he definitely kind of rides the same
I'd put
tone.
it as an arc. Like, I don't see him having a romantic relationship at all in part 2, and it's still kind of weird to see it when he goes for it in this movie. Of course, he can't do it without lighting up his cigarette before he grabs this girl's hand and start walking away from a burning ambulance, but
right.
I would put it as an arc for me.
Yeah, okay, I suppose. But, like, you do get to see a little bit more of how he operates as a police officer, including, like, going into Freddy Krueger's room and, like, pinching off the air. Like, I just want to talk to him. You know what I mean? Like, that whole, like, he's definitely, like, a by any means necessary dirty cop.
That's 100% on that doctor's fault. Like, you can't tell by looking at this guy. Like, he's going to go out there and rough this dude up. Yeah. Like, Robert Davi seems like a man of his word, but he also seems like you're not going to fuck him up in there, are you?
Take him in the bathroom and put a chair on his fucking throat.
Yeah, on the bed too.
Yeah,
just 100% straight up. Which I think even when I was rewatching it, the wife was like, "That's not going to stop you from breathing if you just pinch that tube that's just lightly put over his face. Like that's his only source of oxygen is this little bitty mask." But whatever.
It's fine. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going with that, it makes it definitely easier to accept his gurney gunshot scene later. Yeah. Speaking of repeats, though, we also get another thing he's done in the previous 2 movies is he's shooting a random cop going up a flight of stairs.
Oh, yeah. And the guy just fucking rolls down the stairs and he just leans out of the way.
Yeah. I've seen this in the last 2 movies. Like, he has a thing for shooting people going downstairs. Stunt pay. And again, if this is not long after, because let's say it's from
days.
Yeah, like for going from 2 to 3, he has like a whole funeral set up. So even if it's 2 weeks, we'll say 2 weeks. How is there any police force still left?
They transferred from other departments, man.
Like they've had to bring other people in from other areas because he's wiped out this police force 2.5 times.
Yeah, you just got like guys like Winston Zedmore showing up. If there's a steady paycheck involved, I'll shoot anything.
Yeah, they got to be. New York has to be the desperate. Like, do you have a face? All right, you're now a cop.
Yeah, do you have a trigger finger?
It's martial law now. Yeah, definitely trigger finger. Like that thing. It's only cool in movies to accept is these outside the rules cops. Like,
yeah, you're deputized now.
Yeah.
Like grabbing the janitor. Well, you always wanted to be a cop. You are now.
But also just in the aspect of like, if in real life we're like heard about a cop that's like strangling, is that a word?
Strangling.
Strangulating. If you hear about a cop that's literally cutting off the oxygen to a patient to interrogate him, like, oh, that cop's being put on administrative leave.
Yeah.
There's gonna be news reports. But no, in this one, we're like, yeah.
Well,
Cut his oxygen off.
You know, this is kind of in a weird political climate as well. Like, this is around like Rodney King time.
Oh,
you know what I mean? So
yeah.
like cops are being filmed being pieces of shit and still not having to be in trouble. Like,
and 30 years later, we're still in that spot.
We're still there. So, I mean, yeah. And another movie or a franchise that I really like the Psycho Cop movies,
which I never got around to those, other than the one you showed me.
Yeah, I showed you the sequel.
Yeah.
The first one's a little rough. That sequel is as good as it gets, and it's still pretty rough.
That's the same like guys that pretty much did Maniac Cop, right? That switched over and did Psycho Cop.
No.
No? Nobody went over? I thought like one of the writers or directors kind of...
No, Adam Rifkin made the Psycho Cop movies.
Okay. I thought there was a connection there. I guess not.
Adam Rifkin, a.k.a. Riff Coogan.
Yeah.
Because he...
Oh, Riffy Coogan.
Yep. Who made your Invisible Maniac movie.
Oh, now that is a bona fide boner jam of
I was going to say boner fide.
It is super boner fide, but killer soundtrack for sure. Maybe one day if I get to show you that movie, that'll end up being a show. No sequels to it yet. Maybe we'll just do a whole... Yeah, maybe we'll tie a bunch of Invisible People movies together and do something
I'm
like that.
all for that.
Yeah, but here we have... Back to Maniac Cop 3, The Badge of Silence.
Silence.
The movie that I'm not sure if it knows where to end, because I totally forgot rewatching it how it ends. Mm-hmm. So I figured once the shit is blowing up and on fire in the church, I'm like, okay, this is probably the end. Because you even have like a line from Robert Davi of like, rest in peace, Kate. Cordell, fuck off.
Yeah.
And then they're driving in the ambulance and like, this is still going. I'm like, something still has got to happen. And again, this is 93 when this is made.
Yeah, it's around there, yeah.
Yeah, and people are still driving like Ghostbusters level looking ambulances. Mm-hmm. Look like they rolled out of the same one used in like New Blood. And then we get...
He's all right.
And then we get your sequence of... It feels like Jaws a little bit of like Maniac Cop on fire in a car chase with this ambulance.
It's wild shit, dude. So first of all, we gotta also talk about the fact that Cordell's so wicked strong, he can just grab onto the car door and hold them or push them.
Yeah, I forgot about that. He pushes them and it causes the whole car to veer off the road.
So perfect. It is perfect.
But his arm is also so fragile, you could slice it off if he just ran into a pole that was just wide enough to fit in between the two cars.
Well, you know, I mean, inertia.
I was really starting to question. I was like, how long can a inside of a car be on fire and still function? Because he's still driving and it looks pretty clean in there, and you would think shit would be starting to melt.
Mm-hmm.
But it still looks good. I'm like, I really kind of like, I want to Mythbusters that shit. Like, how long can we burn something in a car and it still be functional?
We put Kane Hodder in a car on fire driving.
Yeah, like, can you drive this for like 20 minutes down a road and still be able to like switch gears and throw it in reverse and like rev the engine at one point?
Yeah, like
that's a weird scene, is when they have the ambulance turned on its end and Cordell's in the flaming cop car and he stops to rev the engine to scare them. I'm like, that's the only time I'm like, that's not really too Cordellish. Like, he doesn't seem like a type that needs to do that. He's already he's in a cop car that's on fire. Intimidation's already there. Revving the engine and spinning the wheels is unnecessary. It's overkill at that point.
You never had me. You never had your car. I do love the, like, you steer and then the fucking throw the oxygen in the cop car.
That's the
That
Jaws
whole-
moment.
Yeah, exactly.
Smile, you son of a
Smile, you
bitch.
son of a bitch. You son of a bitch, you remember me? Or is that Jaws the Revenge? I don't know. There's always some
That's-
some line you gotta say right before you.
I think that's Jaws Goes to Hell.
Yeah, there it is.
The final 4th of July.
Jaws in space. But, yeah, so... And I feel like that's a pretty good ending to Maniac Cop. And then, of course, you get the in case this makes money stinger, like,
Oh, yeah.
at the morgue where he reaches over and holds her hand.
Which, did they put the severed arm with that? Or is that
don't
still
know.
somewhere else? Were you expecting that hand to come alive when he used it to light his cigarette?
Probably as a, like, 9-10-year-old kid, I was probably like, that's gonna grab you. You know what I mean?
I mean, they shoot it, like, just as cheesy as possible. Like, Robert Davi is watching Cordell on fire in this car, blow up, put the cigarette in his mouth, and you say it in your head before it happens, like, man, he should light that cigarette with that flaming severed hand that was in the passenger seat of his car. And then he just slowly pulls up this hand that's on fire, lights a cigarette, and then drops it. And you're like, oh my God.
See, and I think, you know, I mean, we were talking about, like, what is it that makes me like this movie so much? And, you know, you're kind of hot on the trail with it, like, it being my first Maniac Cop movie. But I think it's more so, like, it's so, like, outlandish and ridiculous that it really appeals to, like, my 9-year-old, like, cartoon riddled brain. You know what I mean? Like,
putting running a defibrillator on a dude terrorizing a guy throughout an entire hospital with it, and then somehow carrying that shit to the fucking roof and still having enough juice in it to zap somebody's face off. Yeah,
no, it's very, like, Looney Tunes-esque, and I think that really, like, strikes a chord with me. But it never, like, it's weird because it's so silly, but it never crosses, like, a whoop, 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 like, mode. You know what I mean? Like,
there's never the moment. Like, I'll compare it to, like, Freddy's Dead. In Freddy's Dead, Freddy is literally, like, making fun of a guy that's deaf at one point. Mm-hmm. Pushes a bed of spikes and looks in the camera and gives a
the
like,
Bugs Bunny huff. Yeah.
like, it's a living.
Yep.
Nothing.
And this movie doesn't have that.
Yeah, Cordell does not do anything funny. Everything is done very
Other than rev the engine. So there's your.
And that's not
cartoon
even
moment.
really that funny. That's just like, that's bizarre. But everything is very Jason-esque. And as far as, like, single thought, frame of mind, just straight ahead, no bullshit. I would have liked when he had that defibrillator if he's just dragging like he's got the paddles in his hand, he's just dragging the machine. Yeah, it's just ba-bonk, 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 ba-bonk up the steps. Stretched out cord.
Yeah. Dispatch.
Like, just be really goofy with it, but in that way that's not goofy to him, but it's goofy to us.
Right.
That I would have preferred if I was Smithy in that position. I mean, like, can you drag the defibrillator machine just a little bit?
When you were prepping for this, did you watch the making of?
I didn't rewatch the making of. No.
Oh my God! After this podcast, it's like 30 minutes, dude.
I know.
Just
It's
go
like,
watch it.
I watched it, I think, when I initially bought it. I don't remember anything about it, and I did not rewatch it today.
So you must just to satisfy your curiosity, dude. You have to, because it's hilarious. They talk about how they decide to make this movie. They've greenlit this movie. They've cast this movie. They're fucking, like, weeks away from shooting, and Cohen is supposed to send them a script, and they haven't got the script. They call him every day, and he ghosts them. And then finally one day they get a hold of him, and he's, like, on a car phone, like an old school fucking car phone. And they're like, hey man, we need the script for Maniac Cop 3. And he's like, oh, okay. You got a pen? And they're like, what? Fade in, exterior, night. He, like, was gonna fucking just tell them how the movie was. Like, go ahead and write this down. This is your movie. And they're like, no. We need a real script.
This is a real script. Write it down. I'm going to read it to you while I'm driving.
Yeah.
On the car phone.
So, like, he ends up writing them a script. And
on the drive.
I think like 2 or 3 other guys kind of stick their finger in the pie, and rewrite some stuff, change some stuff around.
Stick their dick in the pie.
Whoa. That's a whole different movie. And, there's just a lot of really unique stories as to why this movie ended up the way it is. And Bill Lustig is like, that movie's a piece of shit. I hate that fucking movie. You know what I mean? Like,
okay, so with all that, let's say Cohen's phone doesn't work when they try to call him, or they misdial the number and dial 1 digit off and they call you. How do you set up the story? How do you finalize this trilogy of Maniac Cop 3? What would you do to make this movie? What would you change? What would you not change?
This
How
movie's
would it end?
perfect.
You wouldn't change a thing?
This is a perfect movie. I love this movie, dude.
I like it, but I would definitely go with that. Like, we need. And why the hell didn't Lauren Landon get the spot? Why didn't they write that?
I don't know if it was something to do with money or.
I mean, I
something.
guess they killed her in the last one. But I mean, you totally could have maybe pulled off like she just had her neck broke and she's still in the hospital.
She was supposed to be in a coma.
Okay, yeah,
she was supposed to be the coma.
You
girl.
could have got away with that. Like, I would have wanted that to have been the case.
But I think maybe it had something to do with like, well, you're gonna pay me scale to like lay in a bed. Like, I want to be in a movie. I don't want to just fucking lay in a bed type of thing. Something I don't know.
I'm sorry, your neck was broken the previous movie. You can't just be up running around. You have to be in a bed. Yes, you're gonna get paid scale. Why would that be a problem? I love Lauren Landon. Man. She's a lovely person, but I'm like, you're gonna pay. I mean, paid anything like so. I just get to lay here and like, all right, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the easiest working job. Like, I would do that in any job in the world. Like, I just lay here and sleep.
You pretend to be asleep. We'll get some close-ups of your face.
That's all I got to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
No makeup. You don't have to do wake up. There's no wardrobe. You just pull the blankets up. Like, that's all you got to do. You're lucky you still get paid at all. Yeah, I would pay you to scale. Like, this is not a major production value. Like, you gotta. Like, you seen the dummy we set on fire at the end of this movie? Yes, you're gonna get paid scale. I'd be happy. I would be more than happy with that. Like, to lay there asleep and still get paid for it.
Yeah, I think also like it's weird because Maniac Cop 2 did so well, but the budget for Maniac Cop 3 was so low. So, and which again, like for me, when I look at Maniac Cop 3, and I don't know whether it is just that fucking Blu-ray transfer, but I guess even as a kid, it seems like a really big movie. There's a fire stunt that lasts a half hour. That's big. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
When I look at this movie, it does not feel cheap to me. Like, we still get all the same kind of kills that we're accustomed to. Like, he's shooting people, he's stabbing people, he's electrocuting people, he's beating people up. Like, we're getting the same level.
It looks the same too a little bit.
It does. It's got the same like
that blue tinge to the look of the night. Like, it feels like the same New York City.
Mm-hmm. Which is, we talked about when we talked about the first Maniac Cop. Like, this is a franchise that we're lucky enough that somehow, some way, still managed to, even as off the rocker as 3 is, still managed to take itself seriously and maintain the like integrity of the first film all the way through to the third film. He never does like say something stupid or have a parachute or any like that for that Freddy Krueger shit. Like, parachute? We don't get that. Yeah, like we don't get any of that weird shit. Like,
yeah.
So I don't know. This movie has always felt big to me.
It doesn't feel
stabbed in the face.
Yeah, no, it's not stabbed in the face. It doesn't feel too far removed from the other two. Like sometimes you can tell, like, oh, this was a made-for-TV sequel.
Yeah, this is Wrong Turn 7.
Yeah. It feels very much in line. Maybe just because like this is 93, so we're definitely in the we're at the bottom of the roller coaster for slasher movies. The craze is over. The drab is starting to come in, and this is also at the height of movie rentals. So budgets are gonna be low because like if you keep that shit low, like they'll buy about anything and put it in the video store. So
Yep.
I'm gonna say, in my guess, the combination of super low budget video rentals combined with slasher movies, those are out by this point, man. What else you got? Like, start making fucking Clerks, start making Pulp Fiction. That's the
Dinosaur movies, yeah.
dinosaur movies. Heavy dialogue stuff is what's going to be coming in down the pipe next. So I think those things probably hindered this movie getting a wider release, bigger budget, bigger movie, even with a popular second entry. Because this didn't. Did this have any theatrical run at all, or was this 100% straight to video?
I think it had a very small theatrical run.
Really? I would have
Yeah,
guessed 100% straight to video.
I think. I could be completely wrong.
Which is funny because I never saw it on straight to video. Of all the damn video stores I went to that had all kinds of weird shit in it, I never found this once. not out to rent at all. Not like it's here, but someone has it out. No, never. Not one time in any video
wild.
store. And I went to a ton of them.
I think I had I think my VHS was like a Good Times release.
Wow.
Maybe.
Yeah. I was able to find Evil Dead 2 easier than I was able to find Maniac Cop 3, which was never. Fucking never.
But now you got a super special edition Blu-ray. So yeah, you've got the creme de la creme until it's released on 4K, which why would we need that? I don't know that we would ever need 4K Maniac Cop 3.
What insane human being is going to pour the money in the 4K trilogy of Maniac Cops?
Well, if they remake it...
Short of if Arrow Video or something gets into that. Actually, never mind. I can totally see Shout Factory, Scream Factory doing that at some point.
Yeah.
Should they get their hands on it.
If Maniac gets remade and does well, that's when you get the reissue special edition, holy shit, box set. Like,
I'll make the prediction. I don't think if they ever get around to actually remaking it, I don't think it'll do well. It might do okay, but I don't. My interpretation of it not doing well is they're not going to get a sequel. It's going to be a movie that's like, that was cool, and then it's gone.
Yeah.
You don't remember it.
Because, like, if you remember when the Amityville Horror got remade, they did the Ryan Reynolds one, which is a good movie. I like that movie. But when it was in theaters, I remember leaving the theater and going to Best Buy, and because there was a new Amityville Horror, Best Buy had like the box set of 1 through 3 with the A&E, like Amityville Confidential documentary and everything, like completely repackaged, special editions, like, and I bought that, like, and that's kind of like the, distribution's, like, that's their little ace in their back pocket, like.
It's the only way we can do this where it'll make any money. Yeah,
breathe it some new life. Breathe the franchise a little new life, and then repackage all the originals. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, when it got remade with Platinum Dunes, they did the same thing. Oh, get a new 30th anniversary of Part 1 that looks like fucking raw meat. Like the cover looks like raw meat or whatever. Like,
literally at time of recording this, we've had the news drop of the Friday the 13th TV series coming out. And literally the other day I sent you a picture of like, oh, look. Here's the Friday the 13th Part 4 Steelbook Blu-ray digital copy. Holy shit edition they put out.
Yep. And like the collector in me like wants that, but I have Part 4 on VHS.
I have
2 copies of it on DVD. I have 1 copy of it on Blu-ray because I have the special edition Shout Factory box set. Like, I don't need this again. It's going to be the same disc just with a new case.
And I'm sick to death of fucking Part 4, but even I was like, God damn, I kind of wish I had this.
It's fucking cool.
Because it does look
cool.
Steelbooks do look pretty goddamn cool. The They Live Steelbook looks pretty goddamn cool too. But even though it's nothing, it's not new artwork, it's just the same shit. It's the fucking mask, blood, knife. But still, it's just something about it. Like, heaven help me if they do that same shit. I'm glad they kind of have not done the same shit with Elm Street, because I would be the
You'd
one.
be in real big trouble.
I would be so fucked. I'd probably be divorced by now. This in my house with 17 copies of Dream Warriors, 122 copies of the original, 66,000 copies of Part 2. Like, they're all the same. This one has a digital copy in it, though, and 3 extra minutes.
This is the media release. This is the Good Times release. This is the...
I'm still kind of on the hunt. Like, something else I'd like to get in the Elm Street collection is that triple pack of the first 3 on VHS, just because it came in like this slip cover. I'm totally slip cover fanboying, but I want this OG slip cover that came out in like the early 90s. Like Freddy like sticking his head out through a TV box set. Like, I just want it. I already have all the first 3 movies on VHS in the OG slips, but I want this slip that goes over the slips over the VHSs. I want the slip of the
on
slips.
eBay.
I'm not even bothering to look at that shit. I don't know if I want to know what it costs. Probably not too
make
bad.
you
I
cry.
could probably get away with it for $60-$70.
Oh my God, a piece of cardboard for $60? Fuck you.
I mean, we're paying almost half that just to get the fucking Steelbook of Friday Part 4.
That's
Friday
true.
Part 4, man.
Well, so now that we're like about an hour, 50 minutes into the podcast, and you're I don't want to say new to this movie, but
I would say new. I'm new.
New-ish.
I'm pretty new. Pretty goddamn new.
Upon rewatching it, what are your thoughts now? Like, is it a movie you think you'll watch a little more frequently, or you're like, that's enough for a while?
I mean, I don't get around to the Maniac Cops a great number of times, but if I'm gonna do it, I feel like it's a day of it. Like, let's just start with 1. Let's do 2. Go ahead and do 3. I know when that was on the last drive-in, that was a great. I was like, oh, finally, a double feature that makes real sense to me. Is Maniac Cop 1 and 2 back to back. Great Joe Bob double feature night. That was fantastic. So I'll get around to it every once in a while, but it'll be more likely I'll just want to do the trilogy.
Yeah.
But on occasion, if I'm gonna do a single one, I'm probably still gonna go back to Part 1. Part 1 seems to me a good, because that's my Part 3 for you.
Gotcha.
I started with 1, so like I can do 1 and call it. Kind of like John Wick. Like, I like all the John Wicks, but I'll still go back and watch Part 1.
1, yeah.
Yeah, 2,
So-
3, yeah, maybe if I'm doing a day of it.
Tell you what I normally do is I grab all 3 Maniac Cops off the shelf.
Yep.
I start with their special features. I watch all the special features on 1, then
like
I
a
move to the
hype
special
reel.
features on 2.
Get you hyped
and then I
up.
watch and then I watch the special features on 3, and then seriously, I watch them backwards. I go 3, 2,
2,
1.
1, go.
But like I love to watch the special features, especially because 2 and 3, I can't speak for 1. I know 1's got commentary, but like
I don't have a good copy of Part 1. I have a real bare bones DVD, but it's signed by Lori Landon, so I can't upgrade it for.
you still can upgrade. You
I mean,
just gotta-
yeah, I did for Brutal Massacre. So, yeah.
But the special features on 2 and 3 are amazing. They each
They're
have
real
these like
good.
making of documentaries that are in between 30 and 50 minutes, and that's the kind of stuff.
And they're under Blue Underground, which is Bill Lustig's like company, isn't it? Like that's his baby distribution company. I wouldn't mind seeing. I need to see if they did all that for a Part 1 Blu-ray. I need to check that out because I don't have shit on my bare bones DVD. I bought it for $4 used. Just amazed I was able to find Maniac Cop on a disc. So that's what I've got. It almost looks bootlegish, like how kind of bare bones and rough it is. But I was like, I think
Got a
it's
trailer
legit.
on it,
Yeah, like this looks
interactive
legit.
menus.
It's the cover art that feels almost like, is this printer paper just folding in half? You playing
Could
me
be.
for a flute here?
Well, now that we're done talking about how much at least I really, really, really like this movie, Evil,
I like
what
it.
time is it?
It's time to talk about some folks who didn't care for Maniac Cop 3. Hated Maniac Cop 3. I think Ellen Smithy maybe wrote some of these. But it's time for the Amazon 1-star reviews.
Hated it.
This is a first in the history of 3B video.
Uh-oh.
There is not a single goddamn 1-star review for Maniac Cop 3.
Fucking A, validate my feelings.
I was like, I should probably look for the closest equivalent I could, but I'm like, you know what? This is Roger's favorite of this trilogy. And there's not a single goddamn 1-star review for it. So clearly it's the greatest movie of all time.
I got a happy tear. Oh my god, that makes me so fucking happy. Take that, internet. You might need to go write one just because.
Yeah, that's what I'll title it. I'm titling this just because there's not a single one and it ruined our podcast experience for this particular movie. And we covered a lot of goddamn movies and a lot of goddamn 1-stars for the most out there shit on earth. Killer Deadly Invasion had 1-star reviews. The Killer Bee movie, not one. Not a one for Maniac Cop 3.
Thank you, God.
So
that rules.
This movie belongs in its own category now for being untouched by the internet's hatred. Maybe because it's not been seen, but I think we'll just stick with this is probably just the greatest movie ever been made, and no one has the balls to 1-star it.
Goddamn right.
And if they all
now
of a sudden
I have to get my Maniac Cop 3 tattoo.
Now if all of a sudden they pop up after this is released, we'll know they're bullshit 1-star reviews and they're just doing it to spite us.
Yeah, those fuckers.
But yes, welcome. This is History in the Making, the only film in 3B video history to escape the 1-star review scare.
Yeah, boy. You could watch your movie with the lights on, boy.
I think I even said it to myself when I was trying to find them. I was like, oh, I need to find the 1-stars for part 3. We're going to do that in a couple days. Are you fucking kidding me? There's not one.
Yes.
And I thought about it. Like, I should tell him this right now. I'm like, no, I'll save this. I'll surprise him with it. It'll make his day.
Totally made my Monday.
It'll give him one happy rolling tear. Like, They love it. They really love it.
They love it.
And it's true. The internet apparently has no hatred for Maniac Cop 3. The badge of the Amazon 1-star reviews is the true badge of silence.
Goddamn right. So the internet always hurts my feelings. Then they go do something like this and totally redeem themselves.
So to be clear, for the internet to redeem themselves, it has to do nothing for you.
Yes.
Doing nothing is doing the most it's ever done in your entire life.
Yeah.
Okay.
Goddamn right.
That speaks volumes for the internet.
It does. 'Cause the internet sucks.
You know what you have to do to be awesome, internet? Nothing.
Shut up.
You be Maniac Kate and do nothing in this movie.
I wonder how much she got paid.
Well, she did do like the gunfight with Freddy Krueger and get shot and do that insane, I'm sure it was a stunt woman. Although who knows? It's not like she did a lot of acting she had to do outside of laying in a bed, so it could have been the same person doing that fall through the pharmacy roof.
Yeah.
What the odds are landing right where she needed to be, on her feet. A good, look like 15-foot drop. Look like the fucking Hell in the Cell drop. She just lands on her feet.
You buzzed him in.
Good God almighty, her ankle should be broken in half, but she just lands on her feet.
They are. She's just got a really high pain tolerance. Well, now that the internet has made me a happy, happy boy, people, what time is it now?
I guess now it's time to do the only thing left. It's time to play the actual game.
It's time to play the game. Time to play the game. It's all about the game and how you play it. I can't imagine the kind of pain you feel, man. I'm not gonna pretend to, but don't condemn her to the same fate. She deserves better. You cleared her. She's a piece. Let her go, man. Let her go. Do it.
Or whatever the fuck, yeah.
Finish it.
Finish it, yes. She cannot be revived. She does not want to be revived. Whatever.
I totally was thinking not Beverly Hills Cop, the Naked Gun shit, when they're like, as soon as Nordberg is better, he's welcome back to Police Squad, unless he's a drooling vegetable. I think that's just common sense.
Oh my God.
Oh God, she got Maniac-cated.
But that's right. It is time to play the game, and if you're new here, welcome. But you're probably scratching your head asking yourself, what is the game? Well, the game is a deep cut in and of itself, where you gotta pick a prop from the movie that we are covering, but it can't be a well-known prop. So since we're covering the Maniac Cop trilogy, you can't say you want his hat, you can't say you want his badge, and you damn sure can't say you want his nightstick, because those are all low-hanging fruit. And as Evil loves to say, you gotta go deep, or
get thrown 40 feet in the air and hit with a 6-shooter before you have time to hit the ground.
sucker. That's the Bangkok rules right there.
That should. Oh man.
Oh my god.
That would have been the Freddy's Dead moment for Matt Cordell if he had said something at that moment. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if I would have been against it. In my head, playing it right now, like, man, that might just make this movie even more gnarly.
It'd be pretty rad. The old Escape from LA Bangkok rules, man.
Total sidebar, I found an Escape from LA, is it McFarlane action figure? Like the old, like...
Oh, yeah, Movie Maniacs?
Movie Maniacs, the other day for like $30 still in the package, and I'm like, man. Kind of want my Snake Plissken. We have a one-eyed cat, and I've been fighting to rename it Snake Pusskin.
My Snake Plissken's gun hand broke off. The hand broke off.
Just glue that shit back on?
I tried to glue it back on, yeah, and then when I had all of my Movie Maniacs and stuff in the basement, we had that big flood, and I threw everything away. I threw them all away. I never should have.
You know, that figure probably was just surfing down there on the waves.
That's true, yeah.
As you open the door, he's just passing by you going, later.
God damn it. Maps and Stars Eddie.
Tsunami, Snake, tsunami. Prepare for our Escape double feature coming soon on the 3B Video Deep Cut podcast.
Please, God. But I suppose I'll go first this week, Evil.
I'll preface it with it's damn near impossible. I had to secondary prize myself with my pick because it's obvious what the first pick wanted to be.
Is the hand?
It's a severed hand. Like,
yeah, that's tough to not want, man.
It's super tough.
There's a lot of cool stuff in this movie.
There is, so I'm curious, being your tippy top of the trilogy, what did you go with?
I think mine's so simple it might surprise you. And I think I'm probably just going to go with the watch that Robert Davi gives Maniac Kate for her birthday.
Ooh, no, that's good. I didn't even think about that. That's fucking great.
Yeah. I think that's the one. Because it's...
or post-burnt?
Pre-burnt.
Pre-burnt.
Still on the fucking plastic display with the price tag on it and everything.
Oh, yeah, she pulls all off. Like, oh, she took that out of that case a little too easily. I buy watches every about a year or so because mine ends up crapping out or breaking. Those things take a few minutes to get out of that goddamn security packaging, and she just shoop and pops that shit off and puts it on. I'm like, that's as unrealistic as any sex scene in a movie.
Yeah. Hey, Mac, I love it.
I was like, it should be like, Mac, you got a knife?
Yeah.
I can't cut this plastic shit off.
Puts it on the fucking gun thing.
That should have been what happened. Take it out of the packaging with putting it on the fucking shooting range.
Yep. And again, we're back at the infamous Maniac Cop shooting range. But yeah, Maniac Cop don't kill nobody.
The one time he doesn't show up from behind that shit. That's the only time they didn't retread that. But like, we can do one of the two. What you want? You want him coming out from behind the shooting range? You want him plugging a guy coming up the steps? We'll do plugging up the steps, but you got to give me one more recap of the trial.
Mm-hmm.
Every time, God damn, again.
Well, in case you forgot that he was on trial, which it really helped me when it was my first time watching. I'm like, oh, yeah, all right.
Which I'm still mildly fuzzy on how did he clear his name? It's kind of established he was a ruthless cop and probably was very excessive in his force usage. So him getting put in jail to a degree probably was warranted. The most I could probably shame them for is putting him in gin pop.
Yeah. And getting him killed.
Yeah, some Tango and Cash shit. Oh, I put half these guys away. Mm-hmm. Where's the one guy who wants to put brown sugar in his ass?
Hey, speaking of Tango and Cash, the Maniac cop
Yeah,
is in Tango and Cash.
where he should be, behind bars. Like, oh, that's where Cordell should be, right there, alive and well. But with my pick, the thing I could not stop noticing in this movie that I've already mentioned, I felt so bad for Robert Davi if he was not a regular smoker. But give me one of his extinguished cigarettes that he lights up constantly in this movie. Because, my God, I
thought you were going to go with the defibrillator.
The defibrillator is pretty awesome. The stethoscope was pretty close as well. But I just couldn't get away from, like, God damn, I wonder how many cigarettes he had to burn through. Because he's lighting up constantly in this fucking movie. And, you know, even if one of those times it's like 2-3 shots, that's still, like, over a month you're lighting up 30-40 times. Like, the fact that Robert Davi isn't dead already from smoke inhalation and cancer is shocking to me if those were real cigarettes. Hopefully he was able to get those fake nasty tasting shit potato things.
I'm pretty sure I've told you, and I know it was on one of these podcasts, but when we shot the tape head that we're editing right now, we had one actor, and it called for him to smoke a cigarette. So I bought prop cigarettes. And
like potatoes, aren't they?
The ones I bought aren't even, they just blow out fake smoke, like powder.
Okay. I don't know where
because I couldn't afford those type of prop cigarettes. I couldn't afford movie prop cigarettes, so I bought.
Are those movie prop
stage
ones though? Potato? I don't know where the fuck I've heard that they're like potato cigarettes that they taste. I think I was watching something on YouTube where they were talking about it. They taste like absolute ass. Not that regular cigarettes taste any fucking better, but
they
apparently
have a bunch of different types.
Yeah, that they're better for you, and you can't. You know, you're not going to throw up from lighting up a cigarette every 18 minutes.
Right. So I had fake cigarettes. My actor shows up and he goes, "Oh, I was just going to smoke real cigarettes." And I said, "No,
you don't want to do that, sir.
I don't want you to do that because we have to shoot like a wide, we have to shoot a mid, we have to shoot a close, we have to shoot over shoulder. Like
that's like $60 probably in just cigarette purchases right there. If he's going to do that shit."
I said, "We got a lot of angles and stuff we've got to cover. That's a lot of takes, man. If you don't nail it, like you're gonna." And he was like, "Well, I want to smoke a real cigarette, like so he pulls out a pack of cigarettes and he's like, "I'm gonna do so I can do the initial lighting. I'll light a real cigarette and I'll smoke it." So we do the mid, and he lights the cigarette and smokes it the whole time, doing his whole lines, and smokes the cigarette down to nothing. And then I go, "All right, well, okay, we're gonna do that. We're gonna do that again." And he's like, "Oh, okay." So he lights another cigarette, and I mean, this is within like 5 minutes, you know.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, "Okay, gotta get the lighting." So he fucking lights it and does it. He does this like 3 times, and we're still on the first camera angle.
It's in the first 15 minutes.
Yeah. And then he's like, "I'm getting a little dizzy." I'm like, "Yeah, dude.
You don't say, man."
I'm like, "Here's the fake cigarettes. Let's do this."
That's when you totally freaking him and you just slap him across the face and hand him another cigarette. Like, "You light this motherfucker up or I'll tie you to a chair."
You like it? I'm like, "Well, I think I've got enough coverage of you lighting a cigarette and taking the initial puff, so you're fine." So, and then move into the fake cigarettes. But moral of the story is,
listen to the goddamn director.
That shit
he
will
knows more
fuck
than
you
you.
up. Not much, but like it's the same thing with like wanting to drink alcohol. I know I told you one of my wife's friends bought our first tape head, and I ran into them at the store, and they were like, "Oh my God, like, did you guys get like super wasted?" Because there's that scene where the montage of you guys just drinking beer. Like, you had to have been drinking a lot of beer. And I'm like, it was Sprite. And they're like, "Really? You weren't drinking real beer?" I'm like, they don't do that in movies. Like, that's not.
Did you read the label? I was like, that's not even a real beer company.
Look, if you were just glancing at it, it looks like Budweiser, but it was Foodang. But like, you gotta safety, man. Like, sure, we would have loved to have sat and drank fucking ice cold beer.
Now, granted,
in that 100-degree room.
It looks indie as shit and low budget as hell, and like guys who don't know what they're doing, you're doing it, but the production value is a lot higher than you want to give us credit for. God damn it!
God damn right. We worked our asses off on that. But,
I just totally have a serial mom moment when someone would say something like that. I just want to look at them and go, "Are you insane?"
Wear white after Labor Day.
We're not drinking, you motherfucker.
So you just want like
I want one of them
all
like
the butts of his cigarettes.
that'd be even better. Just give me the whole ashtray of cigarette butts. I was thinking just one, but you should give them all to me. Shit, every goddamn one of them. Give me all of his butts.
You'd have his DNA. We could clone Robert Davi when the time comes.
Finish it. This is how
soul
you came,
does not
man.
want to be reclaimed.
Yeah. I can fix all your pockmarks on your face and make you look like a smooth-faced gentleman.
Listen, I don't think if Robert Davi didn't have that look,
He wouldn't be
I don't
Robert
think
Davi.
he would not be a successful actor. Like, everyone has to have something that sets them apart, and that's him. Like, he looks like very similar to Tom Atkins. How you said, like,
Yeah,
I
he
don't
looks
think I
real.
can see Tom Atkins smile. Like, I don't think Robert Davi's like,
That's haunting.
I'm having
still.
a good time. Yeah.
Give me a horror film where it's Tom Atkins and Robert Davi. Put them in the Smile sequel. Make them smile the whole movie, and they're $100 million. First day of release, everyone has nightmares forever. Those two men smiling are real terrifying. I'm gonna see if I can find pictures of them smiling. Just post them in our Discord. Like, there's nightmare fuel for you. Put this on a t-shirt.
Invert the colors. It's like blue and white. Everything was fine until it wasn't. But
Robert Davi ran out of cigarettes and Tom Atkins ran out of beer.
problems.
Yeah.
But on that note,
It's
I
fine.
suppose we should probably get going, because after all, there's a lot of movies out there and somebody's got to watch them. So why not us, right?
What's the prognosis? Stick her in a rock garden.